For the methods, participants were 4 males with ASD. They were 3 to 6 years old chronologically and 1 to 3 years old functionally. They did the study in a small windowless room or a classroom at a table with the construction materials. Those construction materials were 2 separate sets of toys that snapped together in one way or another. For CT1, it was a set of wedgets, and there was a 4 pieces glued together. And for CT2, it was magnets, and again, 4-piece structure glued together, with each piece given a 3-letter nonsense name, like CAD, should, TIV, etc. And that was so they could ensure there was no learning history associated with those. The dependent variable would be the number of correct verbal responses in the MEND or TAC testing. For TAC testing, they were presented a piece and asked, what is this, or what's its name? And for MEND testing, a participant was asked to put together a structure previously backward chained. 1 piece was missing, and when the participants took note of this, the experimenter asked, what do you need? And the correct response would be the nonsense word for the item that it assigned. And whether or not autoclitics were used was recorded as well. Again, data collection was correct or incorrect responses. Correct response would be the accurate target response form and not any others, which was the made-up word. Incorrect would be anything else, or if the target was not emitted in 20 seconds in testing, or if another was emitted before within 5 seconds of the target response. And again, the autoclitic, if it was used, was recorded. For IOA, a second observer recorded 46% of the sessions, and that total was 88 to 100%. And for treatment integrity, a second observer was scoring the experimenter's behavior for 20% of the sessions, looking for correct instructions, accurate consequences, and that was 99.6% accuracy. The design was a multiple probe across tasks, looking at the effect of training one verbal operant on the omission of another. For the procedure, a prerequisite before doing any of this was to ensure that the participants could man and detect items in their environment. 2 of these used autoclitics and 2 of them did not. Preference assessment was done and a token-based economy was used. Then there was pre-training, in which they did the backward chaining to do the 2 construction tasks. Then they did TAC training, where they were taught to tack each piece with its made-up name. Then there was man training, where they were given pieces of one of the construction tasks with 1 piece missing, and they were asked to put this together. And when they noted that there was a piece missing, the experimenter would say, what do you need? And testing was the same as training, but there was no reinforcement.
First, we're going to replicate TAC testing. What is this?
That is Daz.
What is this?
That is Rick.
What is this?
That is Tess.
This is man testing for the first construction unit. Put that together. What do you need?
I need Daz.
What do you need?
I need Tiv.
Build this. What do you need?
I need Nam.
So these are the results. For Juan, he never used the correct topography to man or tact. He used I want in the color. He continued to man, not tact, for probe 1, using, again, the color. They changed the way they were asking to what's its name, and he was correct for the remaining 3 on CT1. On CT2, post-testing, he manned for all 3 sessions and maintained mans for CT1 and 2 of 3 sessions, and he used autoclitic frames. For Stephen, the pre-test, there were no mans or tacks that were done correctly. For CT1, post-test, tacks were done 4 of 4 times, but the frame was inconsistent until CT2 man training. For Jeff pre-training, there were none emitted correctly, but almost all autoclitics were done. The manned frame on CT1 and 2 was where it was mostly done. The only deviance was on third trial. After man and tack training, the man frame was 100%. The tack frame was not until he was taught directly in CT1, and then it was 100%. Liam, during pre-training, there were no correct mans or tacks, but post-tack training, there were no correct mans, but correct tacks with the correct autoclitic. After man training CT1, performance on CT2 was not maintained. Mans that were directly trained were inconsistent. They did more training, and the 3 subsequent test sessions, he got the right tact 100%, and the man, he got 3 of 4.